Hello, everyone. This is Rochelle Rosenberg. Welcome to our new fellowship podcast Saturday. So, welcome again, everyone. I am so very glad that you are here, and I thank you so much for your time. I hope that you all had a good week, and let's make this day the day for our souls. All right, so here we are again on our weekly reading. Last week's reading, Balak introduced us to Pinchas or Pinchas in Hebrew, the son of Eleazar the priest and grandson of Aaron, who during the rebellion of Baal Peor zealously removed evil from Israel by driving a spear through a tribal prince who was fornicating with a Midianite princess. On account of Pinchas' zeal, God stopped the plague and Israel was delivered from destruction. This week's portion begins with the Lord rewarding Pinchas by granting him a covenant of peace and officially promising to incorporate him into the priestly line of Israel. This promise was remarkable because Pinchas was technically not qualified to be a priest, since he was already born when the original promise was given to Aaron and his sons, and since his father Eleazar was married to an outsider, namely the daughter of Jethro, also called Putiel. We can find that in Exodus chapter 6, verse 25. After Pinchas was honored before the people of Israel, the Lord commanded Moses and Eleazar to conduct another census of the people. This was 39 years after the exodus from Egypt, with the result of 601 and 730 men. 601,730 men between the ages of 20 and 60. 1,820 less than the original census taken at the start of the journey. Moses was then instructed on how the land was to be divided by lottery among the tribes and families of Israel. The daughters of Zelophehad then petitioned Moses that they be granted the portion of the land belonging to their father who died without sons. And God accepted their claim and incorporated it into the laws of inheritance. The Lord then commanded Moses to climb Mount Abarim to see land which I have given to the children of Israel. Though he was forbidden to enter it because he struck the rock twice at Kadesh, God then told Moses to appoint Joshua bin Nun as his successor, who would lead the Jewish people into the promised land. The portion concludes with a detailed list of the various communal offerings that were to be brought to the sanctuary when the people entered the land. Daily, weekly, and monthly sacrificial offerings are described, as well as the additional offerings that were offered on the major festivals of the Jewish year. Example, Passover, Shavuot, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Shemini Atzeret. It is noteworthy to realize that the most constant of all the offerings described in the Torah was the daily sacrifice of a defect-free male lamb, along with unleavened bread and wine. This is described as my offering and my bread, which was ordained at Sinai. Find it in Numbers 28, verse 2 to 8. So what was Pinchas' full name? His name is Pinchas ben Eleazar ben Aaron HaKohen. It's in English, he is Pinchas, the son of Eleazar. Eleazar is the son of Aaron, the priest. God said that Pinchas turned his wrath away from the people. So what did Pinchas do, and who were the main characters involved? Pinchas killed Zimri ben Salu, a prince of the tribe of Simeon, and 𝐂𝐀𝐓𝐄𝐄𝐒, a Midianite princess who were acting improperly in front of the whole camp. Why did God bless Pinchas with a covenant of peace? Since Pinchas actually killed Midianite princess and the Israelite prince, to alleviate his fears that members of the tribe of Simeon would seek revenge for the death of Zimri. So God blessed him then. What did God tell Moses to do regarding the Midianites, and why? God told them to harass and smite the Midianites because through their wiles they seduced the Jewish people and caused them to sin terribly against God. What did God tell Moses? Remember that. God told Moses that they have to kill the Midianites because the Midianites actually caused a lot of sin to the Israelites people. Remember from our former talk in the times of Balak and the prophet Balaam. If both the Moabites Balak and Midianites Balaam sought to harm Israel, why did God command only the Midianites to be destroyed? Because Ruth, the great-grandmother of David, was to descend from Moab, and her merit preserved the entire nation. So God commanded two persons to take a census. Who were they? And who was counted? Moses and Aaron's son Eleazar were to count everyone over 20 by tribe. What were the two reasons for this census? To plan for war and to determine how much land each tribe inherited. So, how was it to be determined which tribe got which land? It was divided by lots, right? So, everyone has to get their part. How much land were the Levites to get in the land? The Levites get nothing. They were given the cities of refuge and their outskirts, but they actually don't have any inheritance. So, what was the remarkable about the tribe of Simeon in the census? The original census showed they had 59,300 men, but after the sin of Baal Peor, only 22,220 men left. Apparently, many men from his tribe followed the example of the tribal leader Zimri and were killed during the plague. And who was Zelophehad and why is he important? He was a man of the tribe of Manasseh who died in the desert, who had no sons to inherit in the land. His 5 daughters asked Moses if they could inherit their father's land rather than having to go to their father's brothers. His case is important because it showed that God's law can be changed or updated in light of new circumstances. So, explain the basic law of inheritance. If there were no sons or daughters in a family to receive an inheritance, the brothers of the deceased were to receive it. If there were no brothers of the deceased, then brothers of the deceased father, uncles on the father's side were to receive it, and so on. So here in these questions, you could realize how God loves his people. Now we're just gonna go on some of the topics that I want everyone to understand. Let's go to the zeal defines our heart's motivation. Zeal can be defined as an emotional response to perceived value and truth, which can be either a good thing or bad thing. Of course, depending on the heart's motivation and the nature of reality. After all, there are many people who are entirely sincere in their convictions, but they are sincerely wrong. We can actually read this in Titus 3:9-10. Avoid foolish controversies and genealogies and arguments and quarrels about the law, because these are unprofitable and useless. Warn a divisive person once and then warn them a second time. After that, have nothing to do with them. So this verse meant that if you have or know a believer that talks about the law and their motive is to divide people, to create conflict, avoid them. If they are coming with genealogies and arguments and quarrels pertaining to who is right and who is wrong, what is it to be done now, or what is it not to be done now. You have to avoid this kind of people, because it is unprofitable and useless to have a conversation with these people, because they will only say their own versions without referring to the word or to the scripture. So remember that. Responsibility in our walk of life. Each of us is responsible for how we choose to walk the road of life. We all have a particular zeal, desire, and passion regarding to what we deem to be our ultimate concern. But the question is, how is that zeal directed? How does our passion take down the road of life? What is the idea that reason is often the slave of our passion? I've found in Job 19:4, it says that even if it's true, my error remains in me. It means that we all have choices in life. We all have passion to go after. And every passion that we do shall direct us into the development of goodness, in searching the truth for spiritual development towards God. And in Deuteronomy 28:1-68, there is a word that says, let me find it. All right, here we go. In Deuteronomy 1-6-8, it says here, if you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully follow all his commands I give you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations on earth. All these blessings will come on you and accompany you, and if you obey the Lord your God, you will be blessed in the city and blessed in the country. So it follows along the blessings that comes if we fully obey. It means fully obey, all right? But then further down, if we are disobedient, there is, however, consequences of our choices in life. Moses says, when he wanted the people to choose, here is the things I put in front of you. Choose life, he say. So choosing life will determine your future. Choosing the right decisions means you are doing things that are according to what is right in the sight of God. It may be uncomfortable for you, but that is the righteous way. It may be unpleasant for you because that is not what you want for now, but that is what is right for you. Therefore, if you choose to do what you want now, but it was wrong, you will suffer for the consequences later. Now let's go to the number 3. Anger. Abraham Heschel once wrote, in a controversy, the instant we feel anger, we have already ceased striving for truth and have begun striving for ourselves. Anger is a signal, a message. Sometimes it used to disguise fear. Though it is often related to lust or control, when we sense that we are not in control, we get angry. Isn't it? It's true that we sometimes act in anger when we are afraid, because it is the defense mechanism that we want to defend ourselves from harm of the outside. And most of the time, anger also lists that we feel powerful in a negative way. This is the disguise of fear. When we are afraid, when we know that we are not in control, we want to stand that we are losing the power, especially whenever we are pointed out wrong. We mostly become angry because we know that we are proven wrong, and our pride says that we are actually wrong, and our anger sends a message in a negative way, and our undisciplined mind becomes our own destruction. There is a word in Proverbs 15. It says that hot temper stirs quarrel, and a calm reaction turns away wrath. Have you ever felt that once in your lifetime, that whenever someone is mad at you and you react in a different way, the argument becomes bigger, it becomes larger than you, and it creates dissension between you and the person. In Ecclesiastes 7:9, it says, anger is in the lap of the fool. Therefore, when we are angry, we have to be calm. That is in Proverbs 15. If you read that, you will learn how to discipline yourself. I personally have this problem because sometimes I cannot discipline myself. Whenever I hear something, I react too fast. But eventually we can learn to discipline ourselves day by day. We aren't perfect, but we can complete that every day. We can complete perfection by practicing to change our own character. Zealous man means devotion, a continuous commitment via mutual understanding. Jealousy is a complex emotion that primarily centers the fear of losing the affection of the beloved. Hence, the Lord is called the zealous of God, or the zealous God. He is called so. It's a description that evokes the image of a loving and protective groom, or even a jealous lover who is passionately concerned with our heart's reciprocal affection. In Isaiah 59:17, he put on righteousness as a breastplate and a helmet of salvation on his head. He put on garments of vengeance for clothing and wrapped himself in zeal as a cloak. This also means that God had made a commitment to love us, to guide us, to lead us in life. But we also must have to give that love to him and show him that we appreciate everything that he do for us. It is just like in a marriage. A marriage works by continually loving the person despite of their failures. You sacrifice and provide emotional support. And love is kind, it is patient, it is true. It is not happy when someone fails. It does not provoke. It does not boast. And it does not conceal lies. It does not conceal sins. Therefore, it exposes it instead because of love. And that is God's love. It was the zeal for God's house that ate Jesus up and caused his undoing, at least from a worldly perspective. In Psalm 69 verse 9, he overturned the tables at the temple and stopped the daily sacrifice for the sake of our salvation. So there is a defect-free lamb required as a daily sacrifice, and that can be also like us. When we offer our daily life to God, we have to present ourselves in a godly way. We must observe our characters, the way we see, the way we talk, the way we hear. Everything, when we walk, what we do, this pertains the development of our maturity. Once a person continues to do the things they want to do in life just to suit what they want, then their development delays. Their soul can never wake up. That's why to become a defect-free, we have to pursue it every day. Every day. God's law will change you and give you a future. One example is the Zelophehad's daughters. So who are the Zelophehad's daughters? The case of the daughters of Zelophehad suggests that the law of God was subject to change. Even in Moses' day, Jewish view of Torah's immutability, especially in light of this case law designed to fit new circumstances. So does the idea of God's law as being something absolutely static comfort or threatens you? When you read the law of God, when you read the words of God, does it hurt you? Does it contradict what you want? Does it contradict what you like? Does it threaten you? Does it make you angry? It is because you are not open to change. It is because you are not understanding the consequences of the things that you do. If we look at the Zelophehad's daughters, their father died. He did not die because he joined others in doing their sins, but he died with his own sins. We can read that in the verse about the Zelophehad's daughters. Now, it was written in Numbers 27 verse 2 that, or 3, they say that our father died in the desert and he died for his own sin. And they presented that their father did not have sons. He only left daughters. Therefore, the inheritance should come to them. And in the law of inheritance, if we look back, there were no written law about the daughters. But God said, yeah, you shall certainly give them a portion of inheritance along with their father's brothers. You shall transfer it to them. So They are right. They are right. That's what God said. Therefore, these women actually stood for change. They were not afraid because they know that they have no sins behind them. Their father died in his own sin, and they as well did not join. That is important, that you have to have the understanding. You must have that kind of standing when it comes to righteousness. If you see someone doing something wrong, don't join them. Even if it is your friend or family, do not join them. Do not conceal their falsehood. Even if how much close you are to them. Always stand for the truth because God sees you. Now, Pinchas is, how does Pinchas and Joshua foreshadow Yeshua or Jesus? Pinchas actually has the zeal for God because of the falsehood of the prince and the Midianite princess. He struck him with a spear right through the belly. He killed them in front of the leaders. Imagine, they are having a good temple service, and suddenly when he see that the Midianite woman and the prince of the tribe of Simeon came acting improperly, he killed them. He killed them not because he wanted to cause them harm. He killed them to show that this is not right. It means also for us that whenever we see something wrong, we have to expose them. But first, you must know where you are standing. You must know what you are doing. And Pinchas was blessed because God said that I will give him a formal friendship, a pact of shalom. This also means that Pinchas does not look after the authority of others. He look after what is right. He respect the authority of the leaders, but since the leaders did not see this, he himself have to act. It's like in our time now, whenever we see something wrong, we discover many things that are wrong. For example, when we witness someone killed somebody, we don't have to cover that. We have to expose that. When someone is stealing, we have to expose that too. It's the same with everything. We shall not conceal even our wrong things. And that's it for this week. It's about the passion for God. And I hope that you have learned something from this. And may you all be blessed. I'm so much thankful for your faithfulness in listening and devoting your time into this channel. I hope to see you again on the next week. And I'm also announcing that I'm having a film so soon, and I hope that you will share it, and I hope that you will be encouraged when you see that film. So I want to greet you a Shabbat Shalom, and God bless you wherever you are in the world, wherever you are right now in your position, whatever situation you are suffering or whatever situation you are standing right now. May the Lord provide you the strength, and may the Lord provide you the wisdom to overcome all of these things. May He give you the strength in your heart and in your mind. And I wish you Shalom.
Takot ay balot nila naman ang kahapon. Di na muling makakaahon hanggang saan pa ba aabot? Sisihan di na ayaw. Bukas ay magkakal na.
Dumarating sa ating buhay ang hampas ng panahon. Paano haharapin ang binibigay na hamon? Hirap makatayo, nilulumpo na bawat laban. Dulot nitong masakit sa kalooban. Kay hirap maating, ngunit dapat tanggapin. Hanapin ang liwanag sa gitna ng dilim. Handa kong tumawid kahit makipan ng tulay. Dahil pusilak na damdamin ang taglay ko at gabay.
Sisihan di na ayaw. Bukas ay magkakal na.
Mga tina mo na sugat ang nagsisilbing lakas. Lahat ng dinaranas, alam na may wakas. Tapang ng loob ang tutumbas sa pagsubok. Kinayang harapin, dagok at suntok sa sulok. Pagsubok na dumarating, kayang lampasan. Matibay ang dibdib, puso at isipan. Ako'y Pinoy, pagiging matatag. Hindi magpapabilang Diyos ang aking kalasar.
Kumapit sa langit, subukan mo na langit. Ang lahat ay nalipasin, bagong umaga'y paparating. Sisikat di na ayaw.
Sisikat din ang araw at sa mga pangarap ay hindi aayaw.
Bukas ay magkakal na.
Bagong bukas ay matatanaw, ang ating tagumpay sabay-sabay isigaw. Ang ating tagumpay sabay-sabay isigaw. Bagong bukas ay matatanaw, ang ating tagumpay sabay-sabay isigaw.